about this member. And then the pastor said, visit this farmer, and then with his wife. And then you know what? And then the pastor said, do you have any prayer requests? So we can pray for you. And this farmer said, you know what, pastor? Thank you for visiting us. Thank you for visiting us. You know what, pastor? If the Lord will bless us more than 100 sacks of rice in this harvest, we will give it to the Lord. As His promise, we will give it to the Lord. And then he said, you know what? We have a lot of pigs in here. If the Lord will bless this pig, like 10 pigs, and then we will give one to the Lord. It's just like all the promises that he wanted to give to the Lord. And then, you know what? Pray, pastor, that the Carabao, when we are doing like milk, we are selling the milk. More milk that come from our Carabao, so we can sell all that we can give it to the Lord. These are all promises. And then later on, the pastor is just, while they are talking, he saw that there are a lot of chicken, running around. Oh, you have lots of chicken here. And then the farmer said, pastor, they're all young. They're still young. They're not ready for meat or for food. Sometimes our generosities depend on the situation. Depend on our situation. But Christians are commanded to be generous. And here's the argument. Christians are called to give generously, but they are not commanded to tithe. If those people who don't believe on tithing, and they believe on generous giving, if it is like generous giving or grace giving, it must be more than their 10%. It's more than tithing. That's why we have only two options. You want to practice tithing, or you want to practice grace giving. Both of that giving comes from the heart. Comes from the heart of the giver. So, and this position boils down to three main points. First, the tithes that were given by Abraham. Second, the tithes required by the Israelites were part of the Mosaic law. And third, the New Testament does not command Christians to tithe. And this proposition boils in three main points, but you will see here in 2 Corinthians. I want you to read in 2 Corinthians a very good reminder for all of us. A very good reminder about this giving. Okay, that about Christian giving and tithing. He said here, a call to generous giving. Apostle Paul is talking to the Corinthian church. He says here, now, I want you to know, dear brothers and sisters, this is the same like this. I'm talking to you as Christians, as followers of the Lord. This is what Paul said. What God, in His kindness, has done through the churches in Macedonia. They are being tested by many troubles, and they are very poor, but they are also filled with abundant joy, which has overflowed in rich generosity. And Apostle Paul said, for I can testify that they gave not only what that could afford, but far more, and they did it for their own free will. They begged us again and again for the privilege of sharing the gift for the believer in Jerusalem. In verse 5, they even did more than we had hoped. For their first action was to give themselves to the Lord and to us, just as God wanted them to do. So we have urged Titus, who encouraged you, giving in the first place, to return to you and encourage you to finish the ministry of giving. A wonderful reminder for all of us in this passage in 2 Corinthians chapter 8. And another text in here, in 2 Corinthians chapter 9. It follows. He said, Apostle Paul said, I really don't need to write you about the ministry of giving for all the believers in Jerusalem. For I know how eager you are to help. And I have been boasting to the churches in Macedonia that you in Greece were ready to send an offering a year ago. In fact, it was your enthusiasm that stirred up many of the Macedonian believers to begin giving. But I am sending these brothers to be sure you really are ready, as I have been telling them that your money is all collected. I don't want to be wrong in my boasting about you. About you. In verse 4 said, we would be embarrassed, not to mention your own embarrassment, if some Macedonian believers came with me and found that you were ready after all. I had told them, so I thought I should send these brothers ahead of me to make sure that the gift you promised is ready. But I want to be a willing gift, not one giving grudgingly. Remember this farmer who plants a few seed will get a small crop? Said, what's that? But the one who plants generously will get generous crop. You must decide in your heart how much to give, and don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves a cheerful giver. And this is a dilemma, beloved in the Lord. The people practice it, you give generously according to your, how much you give, and reluctantly. And it becomes like our giving now, it becomes like Elijah, I will just give something. A little. Not 10%, or even not more than 10%. It becomes like an excuse for us not to give our tithes, or even our grace giving to the Lord. There's some systematic giving. For example, like me and my wife, our giving is a combined income. And then we know about a month, how much. So what I'm doing, I issue the check for the whole month, or 2 months, or 3 months, and then one by one, every Sunday, divided by Sundays, and then it's ready on the envelope. And then during Sunday, we just drop that offering envelope to the Lord. And we are not in a hurry that, sometimes during the offering, then that's it, and then you look on your wallet, or sometimes you write your check, and then you're in a hurry. So our offering there is to be like prepared. A prepared giving. You are prepared to give to the Lord. Amen. Sometimes when we give whatever, like the remaining in our wallet, it ends up like $5 that we give to the Lord. And the Lord blesses us so much. Blesses us so much. And this is what the Bible says to us. So it means, okay. So now, what are the Christians required to tithe? What does this mean for you? What does this mean to all of us about giving? What does it mean to me? Because God has given us as a living sacrifice. And then another question, should I tithe? What does it mean to you? Should I tithe? That's not for me to decide. Because there are strengths and weaknesses in both of this position. Tithing and grace giving. It is of course between you and God. No one will force you. Okay, give your tithes. Give your grace offering. But we share this word for you to understand what is tithing and what is grace giving. But we and my wife, we practice grace giving. With grace giving. And that's me. I can share that. And the Lord, we've been married for 29 years. We celebrated last Saturday our 29th year. Next year will be our 30th. And I can testify you how the Lord has been faithful. How the Lord so blesses us so much. And we thank God we celebrate our birthday. This is good for us when we celebrate our birthday because we have the same birthday, January 13th. When we go to the restaurant, for example, like a free dinner, they always like see in our license. Yes, so every year when we went to the restaurant, so we have a free. And but that last Monday we went to our restaurant only 50%. The people 50% because we want to eat at that restaurant. So we thank God for all the blessing. that the Lord is giving us.